welcome to the Thought Diet channel. Today I'm going to tell you how I got a full ride merit scholarship to one of the top institutions in the state of Virginia and one of the top institutions in the nation. I'm not going to reveal the school just yet, but you have like your Harvard, your Ivy League schools, you have like your Dukes, and right below Duke, you have my school. So that is what I was blessed to accomplish coming out of high school. There are a couple of things that I feel like are not told to parents and to high schoolers. So if you're watching this video, one, thank you, and definitely subscribe because there will be more tips, not only for getting into college, but I'm going to really be discussing my whole college journey. I'm going to be discussing how I came out of college, struggled tremendously in college, had a rough GPA, and walked straight into a six-figure job. So we're going to be talking about all of that. So definitely subscribe, tune in, because it's going to be a movement. It's going to be a roller coaster. From my understanding, admissions look at high school students in a triangle. So you have your academics. Academics is a combination of your continuous school performance in high school and also your SAT, your ACT, whatever your test score performance is, okay? Then you have your extracurricular activities. Those are sports, key club, whatever you do, drama, all of those things. And then the one that people do not talk about is volunteering. Now, when I was in high school, I had over 120 volunteer hours, partially because I was helping out at a basketball camp that we should have got paid for, and it was 20-hour weeks that we were putting in, and we never got paid. So I kind of all of that as volunteer, and that was glorious. I want to encourage you all to volunteer. That is huge. That shows you are a well-rounded person, and you have to remember there's a point where colleges are recruiting you, but then there's a point where you're a good enough, well-rounded asset to a university that you're almost recruiting them. They want people that will make them look good. That's what a college really wants at the end of the day. Some schools that are smaller may want a good fit, but most schools want people to make them look good, okay? From an academic perspective, whether you're younger, like 13, 14, watching this video, also just to let you all know, there will definitely be more videos of not only things you can do to prepare yourself for college, but also about my college experience, how I was able to walk out of college after struggling and having a rough GPA and everything like that into a six-figure salary job. So I just want to tell you guys about all of these things. So definitely subscribe if you have not already. There's going to be a lot of good content coming to you. Academically, in high school, it may not be cool. It may be difficult, but I would say to do your best. No matter how young you are, do your best. Get tutoring from your teachers. Even if they don't talk about tutoring, ask them if they can stay after, because that will show that you care. Figure out, if you struggle, figure out the students that are good at it. Ask them to help you. Do whatever you got to do to try to understand the material and get at least a decent GPA in high school. Now, keep a balance with your mental health. It is not worth losing all of your mental health, and you get into a college where you can do that again. That doesn't really make sense, and I'm not going to be advertising that at all. But do your best. In high school, I am just going to be straight up with y'all. I was able to get quite a high GPA by the time I graduated. I believe I was 14th in my class of 450 students or something like that. But my first 2 years, I really did struggle. And I went to tutoring. I would leave football practice and I would leave track practice. I didn't really leave basketball practice like that because I was very focused on that. But I would leave football practice and track practice to go to tutoring probably 2 or 3 times a week. And that helped me be a better student. And I had always done pretty well in my classes in high school, but I had always done that with the help of a lot of tutoring. So definitely put in that time. By the time I was a senior, I was probably staying up to like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. because I had 6 AP classes. But again, that's another story for another time in terms of how AP is really a scam and you should be doing dual enrollment if you can. But anyway, we'll get to that later. work on your academics, try to get a high GPA. Now, I took the SAT one time. I took it on my birthday. I hated it. By God's grace, it was just enough. Well, I did pretty good for my first time. By God's grace, it was enough for me to go with my GPA and be a very competitive student when it came to all these institutions. I got scholarship offers from William and Mary and the University of Virginia and Virginia Tech. I mainly applied to Virginia schools. I should have applied to Columbia, but based on where my mind was at the time, the only reason I didn't apply is because I believe the application cost was like $85, and financially, I didn't think that was a smart move for me and my family. So I didn't even ask. That was dumb. I should have really done what I had to do to get that $85. But that's where I ended up with my applications and things like that. From a extracurricular activity thing, I just in general life skills encourage everyone to do a team sport for at least one season. I think the amount of things you learn in a team sport, the self-awareness and the honesty with yourself, the working with others, communicating with others that you learn in a team sport just does not rival. And I know technically like track and swimming are team sports, but they're not really team sports. I mean team sports like it's impossible to win on your own. There is no way that you can win and your team lose or anything like that. Like team sport, basketball, football, lacrosse, soccer, I don't know, team sport. Okay, I do suggest you do that. That looks very good on your college applications. Volleyball, softball, baseball, all of that looks good on your college applications. And you can talk about those things if you get into the interviews for scholarships as well, about like how it helps you collaborate with teams. Because in college, you do have to do a lot of teamwork when it comes to group projects and things like that. So you have that experience. And oh my gosh, don't become a captain or something and be a leader. Or even if you're not a captain, if you can have stories where like you took initiative to lead. I know for me, when I was getting interviewed, I was a captain for my basketball team for 2 years, and my team was terrible my junior year. And we were one of the best teams in the league my senior year, I was able to tell stories about failing as a leader. I was able to tell stories about losing in the playoff as a top seed, winning in the playoffs as a bottom seed, having my heart broken, crying, not taking advantage of an opportunity that, only came around once, and the pain and what I learned from that. All of that came from team sports. And I remember sitting for one of the scholarships I received. I remember sitting at the table being interviewed, and there was one person who was looking at me and he was like not really feeling me. But once I told him, the story of losing that playoff game in my senior year of basketball and how I took that on myself and what it taught me, I could tell I had him as well, in terms of he was actually rocking with me. So I do want to encourage you guys to do team sports, at least one season. But even if you don't, do something. Don't just go through high school and not do a club, not do National Honor Society, not do something, key club, bowling, golf, chess, something, drama. Do something, and that could also help you find passions for once you get to college and things like that. I think you're kind of selling yourself short if you only go to school and you don't get anything out of it other than just the grades and the academics, because a lot of that can be games anyway. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the one that people do not talk about, volunteering is huge. And it can be so simple. A lot of times volunteering comes in like little small spurts, like 1 or 2 hours here. But if you start your freshman year, just think about it. If you do like 2 hours, you can go serve at a homeless shelter. One, you can build some sort of rapport with your community. You could just ask people if they need help with something. You can volunteer for a teacher, helping them organize. You can volunteer with a basketball program. You can volunteer at a church, anything. You can volunteer by tutoring younger students, and that will actually help you look really good. Any way you can give back to your community, one, that's just a great practice to get into for later in life. Two, from a selfish component, it makes you look really good for college applications. So again, start whenever you see this video, start. So if you're a freshman, you see this, start. If you are a rising senior and you see this and it's July and school starts in a month, start. Also, if you're a rising senior, there will be another video out for y'all of what you guys should be doing to prepare for scholarships and things of that nature. Anyway, so I do want to encourage you all, volunteering, extracurriculars, academics, which includes the assessments with the ACT, the SAT, GPA, that is the triangle. If you maximize each thing in that triangle, you give yourself the best opportunity to get a scholarship. Now, a lot of the things I heard as to why people didn't want to focus on school in high school, why people didn't want to focus on whatever they were doing, is because they said, I'm not getting paid for this. And I felt the same way. Like I said, I was going to bed at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., getting up at 6:30 a.m. And I did that a lot from my senior year. And of course, that was because I had way too many AP classes. But the sacrifices I had to make ended up being worth it, because when I got to college, I had enough scholarships that I was being paid to go to college, which I didn't know was possible until it happened. Like, I believe I had a surplus of about $3,000 a semester going to school to learn. So most people talk about all the debts you can accrue and stuff like that. Again, there will be videos on how to avoid getting student loan debts, because those are a very real thing. And I see people walking out into huge, like, great jobs, but for the first 2 years, all of their stuff is going to pay for college. We're not trying to do that here. So I'm gonna do the best I can to help y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all everything I know. And then we're also gonna talk about college experience, all this stuff. So definitely subscribe. It's gonna be great. And, hopefully your guys' lives will be a bit easier than mine. I struggled tremendously in college, like I said, but I did set myself up well going into college. So I hope this video was helpful. I'll be praying for you all. And until the next video, peace.